Good afternoon. A very good afternoon, dear students. Today the topic which we'll be doing is radix sort, counting sort, and probably LCS, longest common subsequence. So before starting with the radix sort, I want to show you one animation which I have downloaded from the YouTube. So I'm just going to show it. You just have a brief idea, then we'll start with the presentation and with the concept. So this algorithm is used to sort the numbers. It is a non-comparison based sorting. So we sort the numbers starting from the least significant bit to most significant digit of the number, and we use counting sort as subroutine to sort. See, if we will actually in this sorting is done according to the place values of the digits in a particular number. First of all, we'll start. I told you that we will start from the unit place till from the least significant bit towards the most significant bit. So last place value of the least significant would be at the ones place, then tens place, then hundreds place. So we will sort the numbers accordingly. So here is how you will sort according to ones place, tens place, and hundreds place. So finally, after that, you will get the sorted array. So let's do the, I mean, its implementation now on the board. So this is a it is not a comparison sort, but we have to sort the elements. So for example, the elements which are given to us is 10, 802, 2, 123, 90, 109, 11. So numbers are sorted in a radix sort according to the place value of the number. So if your number is given as 321, fine. So ones is at units place. This is at tens place. And this is at hundreds place. So what is the algo behind it? So the numbers in the radix sort are actually sorted according to the place value of the numbers. Then what is the algo? First step, sorting of numbers will take place from LSB to MSB. That means if 321 is the number, this is my LSB, least significant bit, and this is my most significant bit. Or you may write MSB or LSB. Least significant digit to most significant digit. So we will write LSD and MSD. Least significant digit, the digit which is occurring at the units place is least significant digit, and the digit which is occurring at the 100 place is most significant digit. Now, how will you come to know how many MSDs, how many digits are there in the number? So, second, find out the maximum number from the given list. Find out the maximum number from the given list. And it is 802. How many digits are there? 3. Find out the maximum number from the given numbers. So that is 802 and it is having 3 digits. Fine. Now, make all the numbers in a list or in an array as 3-digit number by appending zeros. Make all the numbers in array as 3-digit number by appending zeros in front of the numbers. In front of the numbers. So you will append these zeros in front of the given number. So let's do it. So first number will become 015. Second number will become 001. Third number will be 321. Then 1010. Then 802. This is 002. This is 123. This is 090. This is 109. And this is 019. Fine. Now let me put it in the array form. So I'll remove the commas and put the indexes. So let us do in this way. 105, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Fine. So we are here dealing with these are all our decimal numbers. So base is 10. So base is 10. So write down the buckets or numbers from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then write here 6, 7, 8, and 9. Fine. So in pass 1, sort the numbers according to the unit place. Sort the numbers according to the unit place. Fine. So first number is having 5 number at the unit place. Put it in bucket number 5. 001, put it in bucket number 1. 321, again put it in bucket number 1. Then you have 010, so 010 will come here. 802 will come here. Then 002 will also come here. Okay. Next number. Next number is 123. So 123 will come here. 120. Oh, sorry. 123 will come here because it is having 3 at the units place. So this is 010. Then you have 090. Then you have 109. Then you have 090 here, 802 here, and 002 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now 011. So this number will come here. 011. Okay. So these are the numbers which are traced according to the unit place. So 015 will come to bucket number 5. 001 having 1 at the unit place will go to bucket number 1. 321 is also having the 1 at least significant digit. So it will come here. 010. So 0 at the last, 010. 802, 2 at the last, go to 802. Then 002, we have this thing. 123 will go to bucket number 3. 090 will go to bucket number 0. And 011 will go to bucket number 1. Now you have to remove this one by one. You have to remove this one by one. So first number, you will get as 010, 090, then 001, 321, and 011. Okay. Okay. 321, then 011, then 002, then 123, then we have 109. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which is the number missing? 010, 090, 001, 321, 011. Okay, here is a number missing 802, 002, and 123, and 015, and 109. So this is the number you will get at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fine. So this is the output for the pass 2. So this is the input, this is the output of pass 1 and will be the input for pass 2. So let's do it here. I'm just taking input for pass 2. Zero 090, 001, 321, 011. Then you will get 802, 002, 123. Then you have 015 and 109. This is according to the unit place. As you can see, the numbers with a 0 are coming in the index 01, and number with the 1 are coming at index number 2, 3, 4. The number with the 2 at the unit place are coming at 5 and 6. At 7 it is 1, 2, 3, and 8 is 5 number, and 9 is 9 number. So this is the input for pass 2. Okay. So now take the numbers at the middle place. Sort the numbers according to the tens place or middle place. So first number is 010. So 1 in the middle. So it will go to 010. 090 will come here. Then you have 001. It is there. 321, 2 in the middle. 321, 011. This will be here. 0, 1 and 1. Next is 802. So 802 will be here. And again 002. This will be here. Then you have 002. We have done 123. So 123 will be here. And 015. So 015 will be here. And 109 will be at the last. So this is how your second pass will be over. You have to sort the numbers according to the tens place. So take the tens place of every number. Wherever it's satisfied, put it into that bucket. So according to that, 001, 802, 002, 109, then 010, 011, 015. As you can see, 1 is in the middle position. 321, 123, 2 is in the middle position. Now 090, 9 is in the middle position. So now this will be popped one by one. So I'm just removing this from here. And here you will get your 001. Then you have 090, 802, 002, 109, 010, 011, 015. Then you have 321. Then you have 123 and 090. Okay. So now sort the numbers according to the hundreds place. Sort the number according to the hundreds place. Now what happens? Hundreds place. Take the most significant digit 001, 8, 802, 0, 002, 109. Then you have 011. Then you have 0, 10, then 011. Then you have 015. Fine. 321 will come here. 123 will come here. And 090 will again be here. Fine. Taking the hundreds place of each and every number, you will get 001. Then you will get 002. Then 010, 011, 015, 090. Then from 1, 109, then you have 123. Then 321 in the third bucket, 802 in the final bucket. So what will be the answer? Zero zero one, 002, 010, 011, 015, 090. Then we have 109, 123, 321, and 802. Now you see the elements are in the sorted order. The list is now completely sorted. 001, 002, 010, 011. Then you have 015, 090. Then you have 109, 123, 321, and 802. This is how the list is being sorted using the 3 passes. See, what will be the number of passes? As many digits are there in the number. If there are 4 digits in the number, 4 passes would be there. If there are 5 numbers in the digit, sorry, 5 digits in the number, then the number of passes will be 5. For example, if the number is like 1024, highest number, how many digits are there? 4. So 4 passes will be there. Suppose the 65534. This is the highest number. So it is having 5 digits, so 5 passes will be. Number of passes is equal to the number of digits in a particular number. Number of passes is equal to the number of digits in a number. Number of passes is equal to the number of digits in a number. Now, what is the complexity? See, we can remove the extra zeros in the end. Remove the extra zeros in the end. So the number would be 1, 2, 10, 11, 15. Then you have 90, 109. Then you have 123, 321, and 802. This is the final sorted array. Time complexity would be, since this is an in-place sorting, no new space is required. So this is your in-place sorting algorithm. Because we have not taken any extra space. So it is O of D into N plus P. D is number of passes. N is number of elements. And B is the base. Fine. So we can say passes is equal to number of digits. Passes is equal to number of digits. So if I want to find the time complexity of this, it is big O of D is equal to 3 number of digits, because number of passes is number of digits into how many elements? 10 plus 10. So it is roughly constant, so it is order of 1. Okay, 3 into 10 plus 10 is order of 1 because it is constant 1. Fine. So this is how we will derive the time complexity of the radix sort. O, big O of D into N plus P. D is the number of passes, N is the number of elements which are given in an array, and 10 is the base that we have used, because we have used the base 10 for the decimal numbers. Supposingly, if we are going to compare the alphabets, so we will take base as 25. Base as 25. Base as 25. Whereas we are taking base as 10 in the decimal numbers. So this is all about radix sorting. See, count sort is again not a comparison sort, but we have to sort the numbers according to the different keys. Right? Bubble sort, heap sort, insertion sort, selection sort, quick sort, or merge sort, they are all the comparison algorithms, because we used to compare the previous number with other numbers in the list, or we used to compare the pivot element with the other numbers in the list. So all the sorting techniques which we have done so far before the bucket sort are comparison sorts, whereas bucket sort, count sort, and radix sort are not the comparison sorts. Fine. Okay, the sorting is done according to the keys. See, now we have given the 16 numbers. We have been given the 16 numbers. You may see the numbers are varying from 0 to 7. That means there is not much variation in the number. When the numbers are repeated in the array, when the numbers are repeated in the array. For example, you have some medical tests like NEET. So they declare some individual ranks, 0 to supposedly 300 ranks. Right? Now, the persons who will be appearing at one rank would be 5, 6 persons. Fine. The persons having the smaller date of, earlier date of birth, means recent date of birth, will come later, whereas the earlier will go up. Fine. So this is how, or the number with the, like the name with the alphabet. Suppose there is Adiv and Akshita. Fine. So Adi will come first and Akshita will come second. Fine. So, but they are both having rank 1. They're both having rank 1. Fine. But here variation is of this kind. So counting sort is applied where the variation of the numbers is very less. Variation, although the numbers are given in, I mean, although the numbers which are given to us is large, but the variation in those numbers is very less. As you can see in this is the series of numbers which is given to us. Now you may see that numbers are varying from 0 to 7. The numbers are varying from 0 to 7. There are not many numbers which are beyond 7, although we have been given 16 numbers. Fine. So the total range is 0 to 7, and total numbers which are given to us is 0 to 16. They are 17 in number. Fine. So they can be sorted in a linear time. That is ON time. So they can be sorted in a linear time. Now this is the range of key. That range of keys. That means the keys will vary from 0 to 7. 4, 5, 6 and 7, because there are multiple occurrences of the single number. Because there are multiple occurrences of the single number. As you can see, 1 is coming so many times, 2 is coming so many times, then 0 is coming so many times. So it is repeating itself. Fine. So they are not distinct numbers. The numbers are repeating itself and they are not varying themselves. Fine. So that's why we apply the counting sort here. So we will have an array of key. We will have the array of keys which will vary from 0 less than a of I less than k. That means 0 to k, our number will be in range of 0 to k. All the numbers will lie in range from 0 to k. All the numbers will lie with 0 to k. That means AI will always belong to the positive integer. So count sort never works with negative numbers. Count sort never works with negative numbers. This technique is not applicable to the negative numbers. I tell you why these are not applicable. I'll tell you later on. So these are not applied to the negative numbers. So let's do the example of it for the more clarity. Suppose the number R which is given to us is 0, 1, 2, 3. Again, 17 numbers are given to us. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. The numbers are 2, 1, 1, 0, then 2, 5, 4, then you have 0, 2, 8, 7, 7, 9, 2, 0, 1, 9. These are the numbers which are given to us from 0 to 16. Now you may see the range is between 0 to 9. Minimum number is 0, maximum number is 9. So our range will vary from, that is 9. So you will make a key count as a key array. This is count array which will comprises of the keys. which will comprise of the keys 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So this is your key array, count array. I have given it the name. Now you have to count the occurrences of individual index. 0 is occurring how many times? 1 is occurring how many times? 2 is occurring how many times in the given list of the array, that is A. This is A which is given to us. So you have to count the occurrences of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I see 0, I'll count 1, 2 for you, then we will do the rest. At 3 we have 0, at 14 we have 0, and 7 we have 0. So write 3 here. 3 occurrences of 0 are there. Fine. Next, how many times 1 is occurring? At 1 position, at 2 position, and at 15 position. So this is 3. 2 is occurring how many times? 0, then 4, then 8 and 13. So its count is 4. Similarly, 3 is not occurring there. 4 is occurring 1 time, 5 is occurring 1 time, 6 is occurring 0 time, 7 is occurring twice, 8 is occurring once, and 9 is occurring twice. So this is the count array. Fine. Now you will make one more array. That is again, here you will find the total of this. I tell you cumulative frequency count. CF count. CF count. So first 3 as it is. 3 plus 3 will give you 6. 6 plus 4 will give you 10. 10 plus 0 will give you 10. Then 10 plus 1 will give you 11. 11 plus 1 will give you 12. 12 plus 0 will give you 12. And to this you will get 14. 14 plus 1 is 15. 15 plus 2 is 17. So this will be the respective position from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So in first step, you will find the minimum and maximum number out of the given array. In the second step, you will count the individual occurrences of the given number. For example, 0 is occurring thrice in a given array, 1 is occurring thrice in a given array. In this way, you will find the occurrences of individual index in a array. Fine. Then you will find the cumulative frequency count. 3 as it is. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 0 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. 11 plus 1 is 12. 12 plus 0 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. 14 plus 1 is 15. And 15 plus 2 is 17. Fine. This is how you will find the cumulative frequency count. Now you will remove this array. We don't need this array. We don't need this array. So I'm taking this array upwards. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So write down these numbers here. Count array. Just name it as count array. 3, 6, 10, 10, 11, then 12, 12, 14, 15, and 17. Then I've just copied the contents from the previous array. Now how they will be sorted? Take one array. Starting from 0, 1. This is a temporary array. We will, after sorting, we will copy this content of this array to here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Okay. Now how sorting will be done? Go to the location number. Okay. Start traversing the elements in the array from last index. So start reversing. Take I to the last number. Take I to the last index. So first number is 9. First number is 9. Go to the location number 9 in the key array. Go to the location number 9 in the key array. See its index. It is 17. And we don't have index number 17 here because we have 0 to 16 indexes. So there are total 17 numbers. So you are supposed to decrement this by 1. Decrement the value of count array by 1 at that particular index. So cut it will become 16. Store 9 at 16. Store 9 at 16. Now next, decrement I is equal to I minus 1. So move I here. I at 15. Element is 1. Go to key array. Here is 1. Value is 6. So you first decrement it, then store that particular index at that particular location. Store 1 at 5. Store 1 at 5. Next is 0. 14th location, it is 0. Go to index 0. It is 3. It will become 2. At 2, store 0. At 2, store 0. Next is 2. 2. Then go to index 2. It is at position number 10. So deduct it, decrement it, and store 2 at position number 9. Then come to this 9. It is at 16. 16 minus 1 is 15. At 15, store 9. Now 7. Right? Come here, 7. Deduct it, 13. At location number 13, store 7. Again 7. Deduct it 1. Decrement it 1 and store the 7 in location number 12. Then comes 8. 8 is at 15. Minus 1, it will become 14. At location 14, store 8. Then becomes 2. So 2 is at, already the number is 9 there. So decrement the number 9 by 1, store 2 at 8. Then number 0. 0 is at 2. So minus 1. Decrement 2 by 1. So it will become 1. Store 0 at 1. Then is 4. So 4 is at 11. 11 minus 1 would be 10. So at 10 position, store 4. Then comes 5. So 5 is at 12. Minus 1. You will get 11. At 11 position, store 5. Then you have 2. Go to index 2. It was 8. Subtract it. It will become 7. Then 0. Go to index 1. Minus 1. It will become 0. Store 0 at index 0. Then you have 1. 1 at 5 minus 1 is 4. Then again 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. Then again 1 here. Fine. Now 2. 2 is at 7. Decrement it. You will store 2 is here. Store 2 at this position. So for finding the time complexity, we have to write the code first. Then we will move further. First of all, you have to take the input for the array. Then you have to prepare the count array, frequency occurrence count, where the frequency was occurring for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Fine. What you will write? Plus plus count of A of I. Now what does this mean? This is count array. I'll do for one only, right? So this is A0, 0, 1. Okay. Now, what we are doing, this is your A0. A of 3 is equal to 0. Then A of 7 is equal to 0. So this is what A of I. This is what A of I. Wherever 0 is coming, so A is coming at location number 3, 7, and 14. So this is count and count of A of 0. Where A of 0 is occurring? It is occurring at 3, then it will become 1, then it will become 2. A of 3, here 0 is occurring once. So this count has become 1. A of 3, A of 7, the count has 0 has occurred second time. So you will write 7, 2. Then at A14, count 0 has occurred third time. So total count is 3. This is how it is done. Count is an array where you are counting the frequency of A of I, and A of I is ranging between 0 to 9. So first of all, you will count the frequency of 0, then you will count the frequency of 1, 2, 3, 4 in the same way. Fine. Plus plus means we are incrementing the numbers whenever we find the relevance to the number, frequency of the number. Fine. Whenever we want to increase the frequency of the number, then we will simply increment the count variable. So plus plus count A of I. This is A of 0. So 0 is occurring how many times? 3 times. So it keeps on incrementing the count. This is how it is done. Next. Now for I is equal to 1, I less than k, I plus plus. What we are doing, count of I is equal to count of I plus count of I minus 1. This is the frequency, cumulative frequency array where we are doing this thing. 0 has occurred. So you can see 0 is occurring thrice, 1 is occurring thrice, then 2 is occurring 4 times, and 3 is occurring 0. Fine. Now, when you will make the cumulative array, count array, so this is count of I, and this is, sorry, if this is count of I, and this would be I minus 1. So this is 3, this is 3 plus 3, 6. Now this is I, and this will be sum of previous 3 numbers. So 3 plus 4 plus 6 is 10. Then this is I, then 10 plus 0 is 10. So this is how count of I plus count of I minus 1, and range is between 0 to k or 1 to k. This is how it is going. Next. Now how to fill the last array? The last array which we have filled, we have started from n minus 1, I is greater than equal to 0, I is greater than 0, and I plus plus. First of all, you have decremented the count of array A of I. Then you have stored into the AI. Then you have stored, suppose, for example, 0 was occurring at, suppose, I tell you where the location was. Suppose 0 is occurring thrice. So minus minus count of AI. So we have minus 2, and where to store it at? AI. AI is 0. So store at here. Store 0 at this location. This is how it is being done. 2 आया था ना? So we will store it at 2 number location. So we will store it at 2 number location. This is how it is done. First of all, decrement the count, then store the variable at the respective in position. Fine. After that, you will transfer the contents of the last array to the original array. So that means this is working for n times, this is working for k times. We are finding the count of key elements, so it is working, this loop is working for k times, and the initial loop where we were counting the frequency of the individual number was for n times, because we have to scroll the list n times. So this will be roughly equal to This array will also be because we have to traverse the elements from 9 to 2 in order to fill the last array. So this will also work for the n times. If I roughly calculate it, and when we are transferring the data from the temporary array to the original array, that loop will also work for n times. So this becomes n plus k plus n plus n. So this is roughly equal to 3n plus k, and highest power of n is 1. So it is order of n. That means we can sort it in a linear time. That means we can sort it in a linear time. So the topic which will be starting is dynamic programming. So let's look at the principle of dynamic programming, principle of optimality, and the example or the problem which can be solved using dynamic programming are longest common subsequence. So Richard Bellman is the person who invented this dynamic programming in the year 1950. This is a technique which is used to solve the optimization problems. Optimization problem means the problems which are supposed to give us the maximum output or the minimum output. So for solving the optimization problem by breaking it down into the simpler sub-problems and utilizing the fact the best solution of the overall sub-problem will depend upon the solution to its sub-problems. Means if a bigger problem is there, we divide the problem in such a manner that if that can be solved and the optimal solution means best solution to the sub-problems can be used to devise the solution of the final problem. For example, let us take the example of Fibonacci numbers. So these are the series of numbers where the number is sum of previous two numbers. So the first few numbers of the Fibonacci series are 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and we can continue the series from there. So we can do the numbers in a following way. Rather than applying the simple program, we can deploy the recursion, where Fibonacci n is equal to Fibonacci of n minus 1 plus n minus 2. And we can use the dynamic programming to solve this problem because we can break down the problem. I'll show you the flow chart. Just let me show you this. So you have Fibonacci 5, and you may see the Fibonacci 4 is there and Fibonacci 3 is there. Then Fibonacci 4 is Fibonacci 4 is making the call of Fibonacci 3 and Fibonacci 2. So as you can see, the multiple times the same problem is repeated. We are tending to find the Fibonacci solutions of 2, 1, 0, 3 multiple times. Fine. So Fibonacci 3, as you can see, is calculated 2 times. Fibonacci 2 has been calculated 3 times. Similarly, Fibonacci 1 has been there in the blue boxes or blue circles, which you may see that has been calculated 5 times. This is with the help of recursion. But when you have the dynamic problems or the dynamic programming, you will store the solution at one point. Suppose you have found the answer of Fibonacci 3. Then you will store the answer in a table, which you can refer to whenever the solution of Fibonacci 3 is required. We need not to continue, we need not to calculate or perform the operations again and again. Similarly, when you need the results of Fibonacci 2, they are stored in a table and you will use that table to refer the solution of Fibonacci 2. Similarly for Fibonacci 1 and similarly for Fibonacci 0. So a problem can be optimized if it satisfies the following two properties. First, it should have an optimal substructure. Then it should have a overlapping subproblems. Now let's see what is optimal substructure and overlapping subproblems. So like divide and conquer, the dynamic programming combines the solutions to the subproblem as we have seen in the case of merge sort, then we have done in the binary search, quick sort, etc. Fine. So it is DP is used, dynamic programming is used whenever the solutions of the subproblems are needed again and again. Whenever we want to calculate the solution to the same subproblems again and again, there we use the dynamic programming. And they compute the solutions to the different subproblems and they are stored in a table so that we need not to recompute it. So whenever we need it, we just use that table to refer to get the result from that particular table. So it is not used when there are no common subproblems. When there are common subproblems, they are known as overlapping subproblems. Whenever different subproblems are repeated again and again in a problem, they are called overlapping subproblems. For example, you have just had a look at the example of Fibonacci, where Fibonacci 3 was repeated 2 times and Fibonacci 2 was repeated 3 times. So that is called overlapping of subproblems. That means that problem is repeated again and again, and we require its solution again and again. For that, we will use a table which is referred so that we can consult the table whenever the solution to that particular subproblem is required. So they are the smallest versions. Subproblems are the smaller versions of the original problem. So any problem has overlapping subproblems if finding its solution involves the solving of same problem multiple times. I told you that whenever you solve the same subproblem multiple times, it is called overlapping of the subproblem. Now, next is optimal substructure property. So if the solution of the problem can be constructed from the optimal solution of its subproblem, then it is called optimal substructure. For example, Fibonacci n can be constructed from the solution of n minus 1 and n minus 2. So that means Fibonacci numbers have the optimal substructure property. As you can see in this diagram, Fibonacci 5 calls the Fibonacci 4 and Fibonacci 3. Fibonacci 4 will call Fibonacci 3 and Fibonacci 2. And Fibonacci 3 will call Fibonacci 2 and Fibonacci 1. And Fibonacci 1 will call Fibonacci 1 and Fibonacci 0. And it will return the result. Fibonacci 0 and 1 will return the result to Fibonacci 2. Then Fibonacci 2 will return the result to Fibonacci 3. Fibonacci 3 will get the result from Fibonacci 2 and Fibonacci 1. That means the solution of Fibonacci 2 and Fibonacci 1 are combined to find the solution of Fibonacci 3. And the solution of Fibonacci 3 and 2 are joined or combined to get the solution of Fibonacci 4. And to get the solution of Fibonacci 5, we need the result of Fibonacci 4 and Fibonacci 3, because Fibonacci 3, Fibonacci 5 makes the call to Fibonacci 4 and Fibonacci 3, fine. And Fibonacci 3 is calculated on the basis of Fibonacci 2 and Fibonacci 1. And Fibonacci 2 is based on the result of Fibonacci 1 and Fibonacci 0. So they are all interlinked. So if we get the result of Fibonacci 4 and Fibonacci 3, we automatically get the result of Fibonacci 2, 1 included in Fibonacci 3. So that is called optimal substructure. So there are two different techniques to store the values so that these values can be reused. So you have two tables. One is two methods which we can use. First is memorization table and second is tabulation approach. So in memorization, the program for a problem is similar to the recursive version with a small modification. So we have to look up into the lookup table. Actually, we fill the solution in the lookup table, and whenever that solution is required, we look into the lookup table, and if it has a pre-computed value, we return that value. Otherwise, we calculate. Fine. We don't need to recalculate the values again and again. We will simply consult the table, look for the values. If they are pre-computed, we will use the pre-computed results. Next is tabulated form. The tabulated form is built in a bottom-up fashion and returns the last entry from the table. Whenever we get the last entry from the table, that is called tabulation method. So the elements of the dynamic programming are substructure, table structure, and bottom-up computation. Now let's see the principle of optimality. The dynamic problem solves every given problem just once and saves the answer in a table. So it avoids the recomputing of the answer every time the subproblem is encountered. Whenever you are solving a problem and some similar kind of subproblem is encountered, its solution is already computed in a pre-computed table. So we will consult that table and will use that pre-computed table for the reference of the answer. Then dynamic problem algorithm, dynamic programming gets its solution with the help of principle of optimality. That means if an optimal sequence of decision or choices. Each subsequence must be optimal. What is its meaning? That means if we want to get the optimal solution of the final problem, that means the sub problem should also be solved in the optimal time. That means the optimal solution of the sub problems can be combined to get the final solution. That means if we say that final solution is optimal, then the solution of the sub problems should also be optimal. So if it is not possible to apply, if we are not able to apply the optimal solution to the sub problems, then we cannot get the optimal solution of the final problem using the dynamic programming approach. So this is all about principle of optimality. So we will do the LCS in the next lecture. So thank you so much for the patient listening. If you have any doubts or any queries, you can just WhatsApp me personally, or you can send me a screenshot wherever you encounter any problem. So thank you. I'll try to solve it and revert it back to you. Thank you so much.